So here we have a video on adding fractions. The first question, add 3/8 to 1/8. Now if you notice, the denominator in both of these is eighths. So we are actually saying how many eighths do we have? And we have 3 plus 1, 4/8. Now we can simplify that because 4/8 is 1/2. Here we have 1/4 plus 1/2. Now as it stands, we can't actually add those together. So we're going to change the 1/2 into 2/4 because 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4, because if we double 2 we get 4, and if we double 1 we get 2. So now the question, so the original question was 1/4 plus 1/2, but that's been transferred into 1/4 plus 2/4. How many quarters do we have? We have 3/4. This is a similar question. We can't, in its present form, add these fractions together. But we notice that if we double this fraction here, we get 6/14. And now we can say, how many 14ths do we have? And we have 6 plus 5, which is 11/14. So this question here is 1/2 plus 1/3. Now we can't add a half to a third in its present form, but what we could do is recognize that a common multiple, in fact the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. So 1/2 is equivalent to 3/6. And 1/3, well, if we double 3 and then double 1, 2/6 is the same as 1/3. So we now actually have the same question but written in a different form. So the question is now saying how many sixths do we have? And we have 3 plus 2, which is 5/6. And this question here, 3/5 plus 6/7. We recognize that the lowest common multiple of 5 and 7 is 35. So why don't we change this question to say how many 35ths do we have? Well, 3/5 is the same as, well, we need to multiply by 7 to get 35. So multiply by 7 again, which gives us 21. So we have 21 35ths. Notice they are the same, just written in a different form. So they're equivalent fractions. 6/7, well, if we multiply 7 by 5 we get 35. So we must multiply 6 by 5 to get 30. So 6/7 is equivalent to 30 35ths. We now see how many 35ths we have, and we have 21 plus 30, which is 51 35ths. Now in this case that needs to be written as a mixed number, and we notice that 35 over 35 is 1, but we have 16 left over because 35 plus 16 is 51. So we have 1 and 16 35ths. I think that's enough fractions for today.
It was great, and apparently I've never been on live television before, but apparently sometimes I don't watch the news because I'm a kid, and apparently Grandpa just gives me the remote after we watch the Powerball.
What did you think about the ride?
Well, it was great.
Why?
Because apparently you're spinning around, and apparently every time you get dizzy,
Yeah.
that's all you do is get dizzy.
Fun?
Yeah. And I've never ever been on live television. I never ever be on live television.
Are you excited?
Yeah, and apparently I only went down the super slide.